for this video that we're about to watch, chap. Hello, YouTube. We are back with Rotten Mango. The title of today's case that we're gonna be watching is Pregnant 22-year-old found gutted, aka her guts were just like extracted from her. Mom, stepfather, sister, and fiance all arrested with different stories. Am I crazy, by the way? Did she change her title? I could have sworn when she first released this video, I think in the title somewhere it also said that jealousy was a part of it. I think she did change it. Yeah, see, you guys are more hardcore fans than me because I didn't watch it day one. I think the title mentioned something originally about it being about jealousy, so that could be an aspect in this. Maybe the mom or the stepfather were jealous. Anyways, excited to hear about this from Stephanie. Okay, maybe excited is not the word, but I'm very intrigued. Yeah, I'm just gonna shut up. Let's just get right into it.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Typically, the only way that someone is going to...
New setup. Yo. Wait, she literally did the meme of like the guy tracing people on the wall. She literally did the investigative work. Props to Stephanie.
Typically, the only way that someone is going to cut open your stomach and rip out your unborn baby is if you're really, 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 really high. Welcome to a C-section. It is a highly orchestrated procedure.
Oh, I think my mom had to have a C-section for me. I was a C-section baby, chat. Yes, I'm sure that explains a lot about me. It's because I have a big ass head and I was fat as hell.
Welcome to a C-section. It is a highly orchestrated procedure. You've got to come in a few hours in advance before the scheduled C-section, or sometimes it is an emergency, but they will stick you with an IV. They're gonna stick you with a urinary catheter because you can't even urinate on your own when you're numb. Then you crawl into this fetal position on the hospital bed. That's what they tell you to do. And this is the best and worst part. They're going to stick you with an epidural, which is a very, very long needle, and it's going to go straight around the membrane of your spinal cord. And
I heard this is super painful.
within minutes, this is where it starts to feel a little better. You get a tingling, warm sensation that starts in your feet, and then it comes all the way up your legs and then your stomach. And then all of that pain and discomfort that you felt previously, you're not even gonna feel it anymore. That is the joy of an epidural. You won't even be able to feel or move your legs after all of that. Some people will shake and shiver a little bit, but most people are good. And when you're ready, you'll see a bunch of nurses pull in this sterile curtain. Kind of weird. It's like a curtain that comes and it sits right below your neck, right above your chest. And it means that every time you try to look down, tuck your chin in like you're working out, and you try to look at your stomach, you don't see anything. You just see curtains. And then you see the doctor walk in, you see nurses, and you can hear them. You can see anything above the curtain, but that's about it. You cannot see, you cannot feel, which is probably a good thing because they're cutting open your stomach and taking out your baby. There are a lot of moms out there that have actually been advocating for clear drapes. They need to have drapes because it protects the sterile environment, but they want it to be clear. They want it to be transparent so that near the end of the C-section, the part where they actually pull the baby out, they want to see their baby. One mom said it was heartbreaking to know that she was the last one in the room to see her baby. Some hospitals have started like a live stream camera. So they have a camera that's live streaming the C-section, and then the mom can turn on the...
They're booting up a Twitch stream for the mom so that she can see the baby coming out. Hey, yo, chat. Watch me pull out this baby. Fucking Kaisen that shit.
So they have a camera that's live streaming the C-section, and then the mom can turn on the TV and watch what they're doing from the doctor's perspective. And I will say a small percentage of people with very strong stomachs want that. Wow. Most people...
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I didn't want to sound insensitive, but also, would you really want to see that? A lot of my audience is female. Would you guys want to see the baby coming out? I can understand why you would, but would you really? I don't know. Okay, maybe the clear blanket makes more sense because you're not literally seeing it come out, you know? You can at least see it being pulled out. Like you're just seeing the end result, like seeing the baby in the arms. And then that way the mom is one of the first ones to see the baby. But literally seeing a little live stream on the TV of it coming, ooh, I don't know about that.
Most people on Reddit and online have said, I don't want any of that. I don't want to see anything. What are you talking about? Even the partners of those giving birth, there are a lot of stories, and the nurses will say it's specifically lots of dads. Dads who are allowed to stay seated next to their partner's head, behind the drips. They're there to provide support. I know, they're the dad of the baby. No one cares when mom is giving birth, okay? They're nobody. They're told to just do two things. You're here for two things. Provide support for your partner, and since your partner doesn't want you to, and there's no reason for you to, trust me, sit in the dad chair and don't get up. That's what nurses tell the dad. Don't do anything else, just sit in the dad chair. Then the baby comes out, and they all get excited, and they stand up, and because the drapes aren't that tall, some dads have reported seeing all of their partners' insides, their organs. There have been some reports of dads fainting or throwing up, which Go ahead and make this about yourself, okay?
Stephanie, I'm sorry. I think I probably would, bro. I'm not good like with stuff like that.
Go ahead and make this about yourself, okay? Clearly, there are very strong reasons as to why the general population would rather not feel nor see their own C-sections happening in real time. Like, I'm sure it's a very bizarre feeling to see someone cutting into your stomach and taking the baby out of you. I feel like that borders on body horror for me specifically, especially if you're not even in a hospital and you're in a forest. It's dark, it's nighttime, and the only light that are being used are the headlights of this truck that you were kidnapped in. And the person performing the C-section is not a healthcare provider. It's not a happy camper who's helping you give birth because you're having an emergency. No, this is just a person with a hunting knife and a scalpel and a thing of dental floss to cut the umbilical cord.
Dental floss?
Dental floss. October 28th, 2025, there's a text message exchange amongst two sisters who both have very unique spellings of their names. You have Courtney without the U, you have Candace without the CE. Courtney texts her sister, asking her sister if she's got any leftover items that Courtney can use for an infant, a baby, which is kind of confusing. It's a very confusing question for Courtney's sister, actually. She's just like, what? Courtney informs her sister in a matter-of-fact way, well, I just gave birth to a baby boy at 28 weeks old, so he's currently in the NICU, but once he's out, he's gonna need baby items, so if you have any, that would be incredibly helpful. Courtney's sister, Candace, is like, no. The question isn't confusing because of the way the question is phrased. Candace understands the concept of that, like linguistically, semantically, okay? Logically, these are all words that make sense in anybody's brain. However, Candace had no clue, nobody had a single clue that Courtney was pregnant, let alone gave birth to a baby boy. His name is Ashton Lee Bartholomew. Courtney texts her sister, Candace, he's supposed to come home this coming week as long as he's doing good. Still, he will. And then nothing. Candace is like, okay. 6 days later, Candace with an S texts her sister, the new mom, Courtney, asking her if her son's come home yet. No, he did a backslide, but still hoping later this week. Backslide meaning a dip in health, right? The message is sent afternoon of November 3rd, 2025. For the rest of the day, Courtney and her sister Candace, they don't text because Courtney has a very busy day ahead of her. By that night, though, close to midnight, new mom Courtney texts her sister back. My son passed away.
This escalation is crazy.
Was it just that he wasn't strong enough for being born so early, or was it that he had gotten sick? What happened? I don't know what happened. I just know that he wasn't getting air. Then another message is sent. All I know is I watched my child die right in front of me. Candace with an S will soon realize the same day that Courtney's son died in the NICU, a 22-year-old pregnant woman in the area had gone missing. Nobody knew Courtney was even...
So she isn't the one who gave birth. It's not her baby. She was performing some kind of makeshift surgery on that innocent girl in the forest. Oh, and she's claiming it's hers. So maybe that's where the jealousy aspect comes in. Like, oh, that's my baby.
The same day that Courtney's son died in the NICU, a 22-year-old pregnant woman in the area had gone missing. Nobody knew Courtney was even pregnant. She mysteriously gives birth to a baby boy. Same night that the baby boy passes away, a pregnant woman in the area goes missing. I mean, it's all circumstantial, but it feels connected in some way, does it not? Especially that last text message from Courtney to her sister. It read, all I know is I watched my child die right in front of me. Is she talking about the baby boy that nobody knew she was pregnant with, that she allegedly gave birth with, that was allegedly in the NICU? Or is she talking about her daughter, the missing 22-year-old pregnant woman?
Ooh! Yo! Good intro. Wait, that's a spicy ass intro from Stephanie. I just watched my baby die in front of me. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. So she wasn't even talking about the newborn baby. She was talking about the daughter, her daughter. The 22-year-old, right? Yeah, 22-year-old daughter that was in the process of giving birth. She died. That's what she meant by my baby just died in front of me. And they say Shakespeare died, bro. Shakespeare didn't die. He was just reincarnated as this cute Asian woman right here, Stephanie Sue.
So here is the wall. We've got Courtney right here. This is Courtney Bartholomew. She's a very important person. Her sister Candace is the one that she was texting. And then you've got Courtney Bartholomew's husband, Bradley Bartholomew. And then you have her two daughters, Rebecca Park, as well as Kimberly Park. Now, with this, I do want to mention that neither of them are Bradley's biological children, and they're really only just Courtney's biological children. Stephanie Park is the woman that raised both of them. She raised Rebecca since she was 1 year old. She is really the true mother of Rebecca Park and Kimberly Park.
I see.
The biological
Courtney
mom
is still in their lives?
So the bio mom, Courtney, only came back into Rebecca's life maybe about 4 years ago. When Rebecca turned 18, she decided to reach out to her bio mom.
So Courtney, the biological mom, she just sucks. This girl here, Stephanie Park, she's basically the real mom. Okay.
So I don't know if maybe bio mom can get too lengthy every time I try to show the connection. I know a lot of people are like, well, then don't call Courtney Rebecca's mom, which she's not. She's undeserving of the title. But I do think in this case, it's a double-edged sword because I think to point out the biological relation also shows you the intensity of the crime that's been committed by all parties. It showcases like, okay, this is not stranger to stranger or acquaintance to acquaintance type crime. This is a very...
Yeah, this is family on family violence.
So with that being said, we're just gonna get into it. There are a few posts on Reddit where the original posters have decided to be fully transparent with the internet. One post reads, I am obsessed with my ex-girlfriend's new girlfriend and I can't stop stalking her. I dated a guy for 10 months last year. He broke up with me and I took it really hard. She states that after she's broken up with, they were both post-grad, he goes on winter break and then he meets her, the new girlfriend. I think they must have met a few days after our breakup on a ski trip he went on with the college. In February, I stalked his Venmo and I found him and the new girl paying each other for things. I looked her up on Instagram, Facebook, and this girl was everything I was not. She was gorgeous, social, and it made me feel like shit. I figured it was a rebound, but here they are, together 7 months later, post-grad, doing a long-distance relationship. What I don't understand is why he doesn't seem to care about me at all. We were so happy at one point, and he helped me through a lot of problems. I kept texting him and texting him and texting him this spring, hoping that he would just give me a sign of life. He stopped responding to me altogether. I feel incredibly abandoned. I keep blocking and unblocking them on social media. Whenever I see her post something with him, it sends me into this downward spiral. But I have this odd fascination with her. I stalk her pages daily, looking for new pictures. I wonder what she's like. I wonder what they're like together. I wonder what she has that I don't have. I wish I was her. I wish she would talk to me. To the comments, they read, oh, girl. Or another one reads, just delete all social media if you can't keep them blocked. Or therapy.
Wait, so who posted that? Who posted that thread?
What you're doing is scary. You need to stop. He's moved on. It doesn't matter how or why or when, but you need to do the same. Others have more sympathy, saying that the original poster is pain shopping. It actually has nothing to do with the girl. It actually has nothing to do with the guy. She just wants to feel pain, and she needs to stop and go live her best life. A lot of Redditors claim this is much easier said than done, though. And Richard Fowler, aka Rich Fowler, his ex-girlfriend is having a very hard time feeling any sort of happiness for him. Rich and his fiancée, 22-year-old Becca, are expecting their very first child together.
Wait, so that was a post from
No,
the
these
case?
are just like people who have felt these feelings of like, I can't stop stalking my ex's new girlfriend. And that's the case with Rich's ex.
Oh, okay. So that post that she read, that's not from anybody here. I think that was just describing what's gonna happen here.
Rich's ex is obsessed with the new relationship between Rich and Becca Park. Obsessed.
Okay.
And they're expecting their very first child together, a baby boy, Baby Park. Their relationship is alarming for some people. They have a 21-year-old age gap, Rich being in his 40s, Becca is in her 20s. Some say this is not the healthiest couple. Even Becca's biological mom, Courtney, wants to be happy for Becca. I mean, Becca's expecting a baby. What more can other people do than just support her? And it's not that Becca's mom wants to get in the way of Becca's happiness. It's just that she, as Becca's biological mother, knows that Rich Fowler is not a good person. Becca's bio mom would state, I'm just concerned for my daughter because he's abusive. Rich is abusive, Rich is aggressive, and she would know, Courtney would know, because she's also sleeping with him.
Yeah, this is some fuckery. So the biological mom of Rebecca, her, Courtney, she was also fucking him. How are you, as the mom, gonna sleep with your daughter's boyfriend? And he's already problematic. Like, yeah, Richard is really weird for dating my 22-year-old daughter as a 43-year-old man. And he's abusive. But you know what? I'm still gonna fuck him. Like, what the hell?
Because she's also sleeping with him. Courtney is the obsessed ex. Courtney is sleeping with her biological daughter's fiance. Not every inheritance transfer is very dramatic like the movies. Not every will reading is like Knives Out, where all the strange relatives and their weird interpersonal backstories gather in a wooded office to be read a will by an old man with graying hair who reads too damn slow for anyone to even think. I mean, just reveal it already. Who's gonna be a billionaire today? And then it all goes to the random girl in the back that has no blood relation to the deceased. Sometimes it's not that serious. Sometimes an inheritance transfer is just done over lasagna at somebody's house. Courtney Bartholomew invites her two daughters, Becca and Kimmy. So they're half siblings, by the way.
I see. But they're both raised by Stephanie Park.
Yeah, they're both raised by Stephanie Park. Both of them have the same biological mom, Courtney Bartholomew. Bradley Bartholomew is not their biological dad.
Okay, I see.
And they're
So
half
Courtney
siblings.
and Bradley are married.
Yes.
Richard and Becca are engaged.
Yes. Courtney Bartholomew invites her two daughters, Becca and Kimmy, to the house to give them an inheritance. This is money from when Courtney's mom passed away. She left money for her granddaughters. But first, they have to eat the dinner. It's a personal lasagna pan. Everything about this dinner is odd. Okay, maybe it is even stranger than Knives Out. Firstly, Courtney and her daughters are very tense. They never really get along. They never really do family dinners. There's tense energy. But on top of that, Courtney's husband, Bradley Bartholomew, the daughters hate him. So he's hiding in the truck outside. I don't even know if he's hiding well. That makes the whole...
They both look weird. Courtney definitely has a type. She's married to this guy. He looks the same as Richard. I mean, Richard's like slightly better looking. He has a better hairline, but they're both the same font, if you get what I mean. Like, they're the same genre of dude.
So he's hiding in the truck outside. I don't even know if he's hiding well. That makes the whole thing even creepier and more tense, and the daughters really don't like him. They're also awkwardly eating their personal pan lasagnas, which is an odd element to all of this because who makes 3 separate pan lasagna dishes? The whole point of lasagna is like a one-pan meal, is it not? And then you break it up like a pie. But I guess this is a very special day for an inheritance, and maybe if at any point that you make 3 personal lasagna pans, it's going to be at an inheritance transfer. By the way, it is...
She's gonna poison one of them.
Lasagna's great, but Courtney's lasagna is ass. Becca will later send this exact voice note about her biological mom's lasagna to a friend. It tastes like gluten-free fucking lasagna. It wasn't too bad though. I ate half of it. I mean, meaning we had our own personal dishes, but I ate like half of it and that's all I could do. Becca tells her friend that after the lasagna, which felt like some sort of sick ritual to get the inheritance, nevertheless, okay, after that's done, both girls are handed checks. Courtney passes Becca and Kim a check to open up, and Becca is holding her check, and she watches her half-sister Kim open up her check, and inside, it's not a check. It's nothing, okay? It's an empty envelope.
Bruh.
Becca opens hers up, and it's also empty. Nothing at all. So both Becca and Kim are looking at their biological mom, Courtney, and Courtney tells her daughters that she did this on purpose because she feels like her 2 biological daughters are only here eating this subpar lasagna with her, spending time with her, because they want a check. They want money. They want their inheritance.
Well, yeah. The fuck? You invited me over to eat your shitty lasagna, and then you give me no money. Give me my inheritance.
Becca and Kim tell her that's not why they're here. They're not here for the money, which Becca does confirm with a friend that it is the truth. She just didn't go for the money. She went to see her mom, her biological mom, Courtney, and her half-sister, Kim. Perhaps she's feeling a bit more sentimental. She's also 38 weeks pregnant. By the way, to give you an idea, 40 weeks is full term.
Yeah.
But it's not just about the money. So once Courtney feels reassured that her biological daughters are not just here to get some money, she tells them, fine, I'll give you the money, but not today. That night, Becca goes home with the empty envelope, and then within 2 days, she goes missing in the woods. November 4th, 2025, 38-week pregnant, 22-year-old Becca Park goes missing. Nobody has seen from her. Nobody has heard from her. Some of Becca's friends have come out to say what they think has happened to her. One of her friends even offered herself as an offering to be swapped by a potential kidnapper. It's just gotten really messy. A lot of people have been utilizing Facebook to really voice out things that maybe they shouldn't have voiced out. It's just a lot. But some people
What do you
think...
mean by that? They shouldn't voice out.
I mean, it's just gotten messy in the sense of like people will say... take me instead of Becca because I do the same drugs Becca does. Like, it's just like weird.
They're just like self-reporting. Like, look at Stephanie's face. It's just like, I did the same crack cocaine she did. Arrest me.
Take me instead of Becca because I do the same drugs Becca does. Like, it's just like weird.
What?
Yeah, I think...
Is that like a joke? What does that mean?
I think they're just all very young. I think they're all young, and I don't think that they understand the implications of what they're saying online. And I think maybe I'm giving people the benefit of the doubt. Perhaps they're in such a state of shock that they're not understanding the impact of their words online, perhaps.
The police gonna come.
How, do you know how she was found missing or what happened? How was it reported?
Her sister Kimmy called the cops and was like, hey, my sister's missing. No one's heard from my sister. And this is unlike
Kimberly.
her.
Okay, so Kimmy is the one that...
W. Kim.
Kimmy's the one that reported it. But I will say... yeah, everyone, okay, the thing about this case that everyone is thinking but doesn't want to say out loud, and perhaps I'll be the one to say it out loud, is kind of everyone has used Becca's disappearance. There are a core group of people that care about Becca, including Stephanie Park's family, a lot of Becca's close friends, and even internet sleuths who don't know Becca like that but have put a lot of time and effort in trying to locate her. They care a lot about her, and it's very sincere. However, there are also a lot of people who knew Becca that seem like they're using this as some sort of dramatic moment to make it about themselves. It's weird. Like the whole take me instead, it's a lot. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. I see. Okay.
So Kimmy calls in and reports that her sister is missing, and all of these rumors start. Some people are like, she's been kidnapped. I mean, it's so immediate, the rumors on Facebook. All of Becca's friends are like, she's been kidnapped. Maybe she's being held hostage somewhere until it's time to give birth. Some people were saying that she was being held hostage in a septic tank, and that's why nobody can find her. I mean, these are very strong feelings and speculations to have after a friend goes missing, but maybe it goes to show how not normal it is for Becca to go missing. She's not going to run away. She didn't just disappear. She's 38 weeks pregnant. I mean, you can barely walk. My sister had 2 kids. You can barely walk quickly when you're that pregnant. Where do you think that she could have possibly gone? Weeks pass, and at this point in the conversation, after the first week, the second week, the third week pass, the police still haven't found Becca. Nobody has confessed. Nobody knows what's happened. I mean, keep that in mind for later, okay? And the longer the time progresses that Becca isn't found, the more people start talking, which is unlike most cases. Usually, the longer it takes to find somebody, the case goes cold. In fact, with this case, nobody will stop talking. Everybody keeps talking, and they're talking too much. So let's run through the timeline. November 4th, 2025, Tuesday, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. 21-year-old Kimmy calls the police to report that her half-sister Becca is 38 weeks pregnant. She's about 2 weeks away from giving birth, and she's missing, okay? The Wexford County Sheriff's Office, they have about 26 sworn law enforcement officers in the main law enforcement division. 26, this is a small town. And about 3 of them are working on this case. So they're going to work the timeline backwards. They trace Becca's steps the few days before she goes missing, November 1st. That's lasagna day. That's weird lasagna inheritance dinner with her biological mom, Courtney, and her half-sister, Kim.
Oh, so the timing is kind of suspicious, yeah. So it's very shortly after the suspicious, nasty lasagna dinner with no inheritance money being given.
Sister, you know, that reports her missing to the police.
Yeah, and the husband, Bradley, sitting in the car.
Yes. So then November 2nd, Becca goes to the hospital. Becca thinks she's in labor. She's not in labor. The hospital sends her back out. She's only 1 centimeter dilated, I think out of like 10 centimeters dilated. But it's very interesting. People say the timing of the hospital visit right after a suspicious gluten-free, nasty-tasting lasagna is a little weird. Goes to the hospital, hospital sends her back home. November 3rd, 1 day before she's called to be reported missing, Becca goes out to get ice cream and run errands with her bio mom, Courtney. She disappears November 3rd that night.
Ooh. So right before she disappeared, she went to go get ice cream? Rebecca? With the mom, with the biological mom.
1 day before she's called to be reported missing, Becca goes out to get ice cream with her bio mom, Courtney. She disappears November 3rd that night. She's only reported missing the day after on November 4th. But really, the last time anybody's seen her is November 3rd. And so everybody's got a different story of the last few days before Becca goes missing. And I will say, the more frequently someone or anyone involved with this case opens their mouths to talk, the more suspicious each one of them seems. Obviously, with a case like this,
I mean, it's got to be Courtney.
The statistics are much higher for a pregnant woman to be abused by her partner. Becca's partner, Rich, who is basically double her age and is also having an affair with Becca's biological mom, he's a very shady guy. I mean, that's putting it very lightly. He also deals meth. Okay, the police are definitely looking at him.
Wait, he deals meth?
He also deals meth. Okay, the police are definitely looking at him. But also to the last people who saw Becca alive. Deputy Reed is talking to the biological...
I really do think, though, that Courtney, this weird biological mom here, I think she definitely poisoned or did something to the lasagna. Stephanie made that a big deal. Stephanie was like, lasagna is one of those things that where you don't make separate ones for each person. Lasagna is one of those things like you make a big serving of it and then you kind of just like scoop it out or like cut pieces out for different people. But she prepared entirely different ones for each of the daughters. I think she did some weird shit to Rebecca's lasagna, maybe.
You were one of the last people to see Becca alive. Courtney doesn't disagree. She's like, yeah, she was. You know, she was probably with Becca until maybe like 8:30 p.m. the night before. She picked up Becca from Becca and Rich's house to go get ice cream at Culver's, which is surprisingly an underrated spot for ice cream. Then Courtney states that Becca was interested in getting Tide Pods.
Shout out Culver.
They gotta go run errands to buy Tide Pods.
Shout out.
Target, Walmart, Kroger, Ralph's. Where to get Tide Pods?
Shout out Walmart.
Bio mom Courtney is like, well, I had Tide Pods. So rather than going to the store to get some Tide Pods, as one would very naturally do, Courtney decides to drive Becca back to her house to go into her laundry room and fetch out some Tide Pods. Maybe she's a Tide Pod hoarder. Maybe there was a sale at Costco. Maybe she didn't want to disrupt the supply chain. I don't know why. Courtney is like, here, just take my Tide Pods. I mean, Tide Pods aren't even a thing that really expire. It's weird. Was there anything eventful that happened that day? Well, sure, okay. Becca was complaining about her fiance, Rich. What's new? He was just hounding her. This is like Courtney's perspective. He was just hounding her so that he could get money to fix his truck. But she's so pregnant. Where is she going to come up with this money? She doesn't have a job. Courtney is encouraging Becca. You gotta leave Rich. He's not even great. He's not even rich. But Becca seems scared, or at least That's what Courtney says.
So Courtney, the mom, was trying to get Rebecca to leave Richard so that she could have Richard all to herself. So that's where the jealousy aspect comes into play.
Said with her own words that she was very afraid of her fiance, Rich. Courtney pulls out an envelope to Becca that night. The night she goes missing, yes. This time it has money. It has $2,000 of cash in there. And this is when, according to Courtney, she notices something so bizarre and so odd. She said, I saw Becca using 2 phones. I don't know why she has 2 phones. For what reason? But 2 phones. I saw 2 phones. I imagine.
So this is like an investigation from the police?
Yeah.
That's from their report? Mm-hmm. Okay.
I mean, I imagine she states in a conspiratorial way, as she seems to do in lots of interviews, that she had gone into the house to get laundry soap, Tide Pods. Becca's outside, and when she brings them outside, quote, I noticed that she had deleted something. Courtney doesn't know what, nor does she know which phone she was deleting stuff off of. Anywho, don't ask questions. Courtney's like, moving on in the interview. She's just like, okay, well, I saw her delete something. And then all of a sudden, a mysterious black SUV with tinted windows pulls up. How do we know it's a mysterious black SUV with tinted windows? We don't know, other than the fact that Courtney is telling us this information. And it's a Chevy. How do we know that? Courtney told us that.
This does sound like make-believe. I think Courtney made all of this up.
To just tell it's a Chevy. And then it pulls up rather dramatically. She can't even see who's driving inside the car. And Becca tells her, this is something I have to do. What does that mean?
She reminds me of that one kid at recess back in 4th grade that would just lie to people for no fucking reason. My dad plays in the NFL. Oh yeah, my mom's also an astronaut and she dated Barack Obama. Yeah. Like, what? Okay.
Courtney says she doesn't ask further questions. She doesn't press Becca on why she's being so cryptic because she doesn't want to push Becca away. She just watches as her pregnant daughter gets into the passenger seat of this black SUV, Mystery, and then they drive off. There is this brief idea, Courtney says she had, where she was like, oh, I know, I'm gonna get Bradley, my husband, who my biological daughter despises, to get in his car and follow the black SUV. But then Courtney decided, no, because if Becca ever finds out that we followed her, she would be so mad. Which one would imagine that if you feel the urge or the inkling to follow a black SUV, that you're suspicious enough to go chase after it, that's a pretty alarming thing. Like, you've got to have a very strong feeling about this SUV. But Courtney does not act. She does not call the police. She doesn't do anything. She just goes to sleep, and she realizes the next morning Becca had never gone home. The next morning, November 4th, everyone knows that Becca...
So do you guys think she made up that entire story preemptively to explain why Rebecca disappeared or how she disappeared? The whole black van thing, Rebecca getting into it, disappearing.
Becca had never gone home. The next morning, November 4th, everyone knows that Becca hasn't gone home. She's pregnant and she's missing. Courtney says she gets a text message from her other daughter, Kim, Becca's half-sister. It's just coordinates. What do you mean it's just coordinates? Kim tells her mom, this is where Becca's phone is. Courtney types it into her maps, starts walking, and it leads her right.
So this is when they are like, where's Becca? Where's Becca? And Kim just sends a coordinate. That's it.
Yeah.
She has her Find My iPhone?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it leads Courtney and her husband, Bradley, straight to a phone. Becca's phone.
So Kim had the coordinates to Rebecca's phone. What the fuck?
Where was it?
In the woods behind their house. They live on the edge of Manistee National Forest.
Maybe they had each other on like Find My iPhone.
The National Forest is not like the vibe of Yosemite or like Yellowstone. It's just like lots of densely wooded areas. And there are trails, but they don't live on the side where there's a lot of tourist groups and lots of scenic trails. So just think like densely packed woods.
Okay.
The police now have that phone, and they know that Becca wasn't using it to coordinate with some black SUV Uber driver or any sort of black SUV driving friend or anybody.
Well, obviously.
There's nothing on that phone. So that means that this SUV driver just materialized out of thin air to take her on to a mysterious location. It doesn't make any sense. The biological
because Courtney's lying.
Well, that's because, like I said, she had 2 phones, maybe 3. So she could have been using her other phones to coordinate with the SUV driver to get picked up from my house that night. The police are confused.
She is so lying. Because she knows it wouldn't be believable with the one phone, she now has to say, oh no, it's because Rebecca actually had 2 or 3 phones. Fuck it, let's just say 5 phones. and those other phones that I just made up, those are the phones that she was communicating with the mysterious SUV driver.
Other phones to coordinate with the SUV driver to get picked up from my house that night. The police are confused by all of this. How would Kim have the coordinates to Becca's phone, and why was Becca's phone found behind Courtney's house if she was picked up in a black van? It doesn't make any sense. Courtney responds, I don't fucking know.
Oh, so the coordinates that Kimberly, aka Rebecca's sister, had led them to the backyard of Courtney, the biological mom. That's where they found Rebecca's phone. Oh, she's so guilty.
Courtney Bartholomew is a woman whose explanations defy logic. She just has a tendency to say things they kind of make sense if you decide to completely disregard any signals coming from your prefrontal cortex. But if you just think about it for a moment longer, it starts sounding weird. Courtney says before Becca is whipped away in a scary big black van, they were just having a normal bio-mom-daughter date. Like any good mother who is rarely present in her daughter's life until recently 4 years ago, Courtney has this ingenious idea. She's like, I'm gonna plan you a baby shower for your baby, your son that's about to be born. However, she tells the police Becca was not interested. She said that CPS was gonna come and take her baby. Do you see why that's weird? Because your baby's not born when you have a baby shower. Maybe the fear is that people are going to post the baby shower on social media, thus alerting CPS that Becca is pregnant, but that doesn't seem to be accurate because when you go online, they're all posting frequently about pregnancy. It just kind of doesn't make sense. It feels like that story was thrown in there to be like, I'm such a good mom, I wanted to throw her a baby shower. And also Becca's bad because CPS would probably take her kid. That's the vibe it was giving. It's weird.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make any sense. Now, Courtney thinks specifically, if she had to put her money on it, if she had to think about who had something to do with Becca going missing, it's probably a guy named Mike and a woman named Ashley. Who the hell are Mike and Ashley?
Who the fuck are these people? Huh?
Who the hell are Mike and Ashley? Courtney says they were the ones that were gonna help Becca run away from.
Okay, it makes sense now. Courtney says that they were the ones who were helping Becca run away. In other words, they're completely made up people. Dude, Courtney is so sus. I don't believe anything she says.
That we're gonna help Becca run away from Richard. She could be in hiding right now. Who is Ashley? Quote, oh, Rich's other baby mama.
Another
so
baby
now she's saying,
mama.
you gotta look into these two people. The police look into these two people, and they have nothing to do with it.
What do you mean? Like they're real? They do exist.
And they have nothing to do with anything.
Wait,
Mike
these
is
are
friends
real
with Ashley.
people. These are real people, but Courtney just brought them in. Courtney's bringing them in to throw them under the bus. It would literally be like Courtney telling you guys or telling me that I'm in this story. It'd be like, she doesn't know us.
And it just leads them onto this wild goose chase. And there is nothing there. So the police think, okay, well, maybe we should just look into Rich then. Is Becca's fiance and the father of her unborn child, Rich, suspicious? By default, based on statistics, perhaps. I mean, amongst other very concrete reasons. But a lot of Becca's former classmates, family members, and more on her real family members later, like Stephanie Park, but a lot of Becca's friends, they don't particularly appreciate Courtney's passionate story and pointing the finger at Ashley, Rich's other ex-girlfriend, mainly because, first of all, Ashley and Becca had a very close relationship. So it doesn't seem like Ashley would do anything nefarious to Becca. And Ashley would not just let Becca go missing and not inform the police if they're on this wild goose hunt for Becca. But also, a lot of people are mad because you've been in your daughter's life for like 2 minutes. Becca was placed in foster care at 1 year old, was adopted by a woman named Stephanie Park. That's her real mom. Becca only reconnected with her biological mom, Courtney, at 18 years old. And now Courtney is out here pretending like she's known Becca for her entire life and is supporting her and is fighting to find her.
Actually so
One of
true.
Becca's friends takes issue with this. And then Courtney decides she's going to get mad at all of Becca's friends. Courtney goes on social media and she gives a very important message. This is during the very critical time that her daughter is missing. She says, "Fuck you, Araya." Araya is Becca's friend who has been trying to figure out what happened to Becca and has naturally become pretty suspicious of Courtney because none of her stories are making sense. She's got 2 phones. She's got 3 phones. She didn't want a baby shower. It's just a whole bunch of nonsense that's coming out of Courtney. Courtney responds by going on live and screaming,
1, they have searched my property. 2, I didn't touch my fucking daughter. And 3, we already know the fucking info that you're fucking telling us, Araya.
Dude, I literally said this last video. A key behavior that liars oftentimes show is excessive cursing. When you're just like cussing in every sentence unnecessarily to try and emphasize your points, it's because you're lying and you need cuss words to look more passionate, basically.
Bradley, the husband, chimes in.
And we got fucking cameras watching the fucking road, you dumb bitch.
What did Aria before this?
That Courtney is suspicious, that Courtney doesn't want the cops to search her house.
Why are you screaming at me?
And then Courtney goes back to screaming, so you better fucking watch it. Rusty is Araya's dad.
Rusty, you better get your fucking child under control because she's taking a mother's pain and turning it into a goddamn circus. Fuck you, Araya. You don't have fucking kids that actually you take care of. I do, unfortunately, that you don't have yours because you fucking can't
I do have kids that I take care of, unfortunately.
be a mom to yours. So you know what? Fuck you, bitch. You're getting an ass whooping, you keep it up. I'm not playing with you anymore. I already know the goddamn information. My daughter probably left Rich. Y'all can't accept it. Get over it. If that is what she fucking did, then I'm happy for her. I just want to know where she's at and that she's okay. That's all that counts anymore. And you know what? You ever fucking say I laid a hand on my pregnant daughter, Araya, so help me God, you will not like me. Don't play with me.
But just because Courtney hasn't been present in her life, her now missing daughter's life, doesn't mean that Courtney is automatically the most suspicious one, right? In fact, Rich Failer, Becca's fiance, is a very shady person. I mean, that's just factually correct. The police questioned where he was when his pregnant fiance, Becca, went missing.
Yeah, many things are shady about this Rich guy. I mean, not only was he 43 years old dating a 22-year-old girl, he was also selling meth on the side. Like, what the hell?
I mean, that's just factually correct. The police questioned where he was when his pregnant fiance, Becca, went missing. And he explains from the top that the day that she vanished, her stomach had been hurting all morning. So it was lasagna inheritance day, hospital day, and then the next day, her stomach is still hurting a lot. She's not feeling good. So they spent the entire day laying in bed and watching movies. She wasn't talking to anyone. She wasn't texting anyone. I mean, she wasn't texting anyone particularly who drives a big black SUV, a Chevy SUV with tinted windows. But what does Rich know? Rich doesn't know a lot of things. Rich says he had no clue that Becca was even going to Courtney's house. He thought that they were just gonna go get ice cream at Culver's because that's what Becca was craving. When Courtney comes to pick Becca up around dinner time, he says, Becca gave me a hug. We gave each other a kiss, what normal couples would do when somebody's leaving. She said, give her about an hour and a half to 2 hours and then she'd be back. But then he falls asleep 45 minutes later after she leaves. He wakes up at 1 a.m. He tries to call Becca, trying to figure out where she is, but she's not picking up. He doesn't freak out because he just assumed that his pregnant fiance, who had been at the hospital the night before, is just at a friend's house. Even though she states that she's going to be home in 2 hours and it's now many hours, he doesn't think that this is alarming. And then the next morning, he starts calling Courtney because he's like, wait, Becca's still not home. So like, where's Becca, Courtney? Courtney tells him that Becca was picked up by somebody in a black SUV, but Rich doesn't believe her.
Okay, so Rich fell asleep for a while. Becca was gone, and then Courtney's already starting the lying to Richard, and Richard was already sus of Courtney. God damn.
Yeah, and the way that Courtney says it is really bizarre. She says, your old lady left with someone in a black SUV. First of all, Courtney, you're 40. This is your biological daughter and she's 22. I don't know. It's weird. Rich does not believe Courtney. He goes from being so trusting. He goes from waking up at 1 a.m., I'm sure my 38-week pregnant wife is totally fine, to all of a sudden, hey, I am the most skeptical person on the block, and I don't believe that Becca would leave in a black SUV.
I tried to call her a few times because I didn't get no messages, call from her, nothing, and it's just not like her.
So it took Rebecca being missing for him to actually start being a caring husband or a caring soon-to-be dad.
But nothing comes of any of this. I mean, this is no clue. There's no hint. There's nothing to lead the police closer to finding Becca. And as the days pass, Becca's friends start coming out to talk about how, hey, this guy sucks. He's not the amazing, attentive fiance that he probably wants everyone to see him as. He is straight up a creep. He admits on a podcast called Steph's Case Files, he's confronted about whether or not he cheated on Becca before, because he clearly did.
What's a Steph case file?
It's a podcast. I think Steph's Case Files is fine. No, I think they're really good. It's a podcast name.
And this is after this whole case has happened and they are doing interviews with Rich, right?
It's when Becca goes missing. But I will say the reason that I am having like Stephanie Park along with Becca's family, her real family, have come out, like Stephanie Park's family have come out to say that all of the internet rumors and speculations are getting out of hand and it's impeding with the police investigation before the case goes to trial. I will say that there are lots of different live streamers and podcasts where they'll all kind of dial in and call each other, and they will call in Courtney or Richard. And there's a lot of rumors that take place in the comment sections that are voiced out loud that then kind of become a life of its own. So I would just be careful with this case in regards to going to, but I will say it's complicated because at the same time that these are the podcasts that got the word out. So Steph's Case Files, I think, is doing a really good job, but there might be other podcasts that are not doing a splendid job, is just all I'm trying to say.
I see.
So it seems like Becca's family, her real family, are a little frustrated with that.
I see.
Not saying that that's what Steph's Case Files did, but I'm just saying when you go down the rabbit hole of listening to all these live streams, because there were issues with live streamers then going to Courtney and Bradley Bartholomew's house and filming them from outside their house across the street.
Live streamers, Logan Paul, how to go out there.
And filming them from outside their house across the street. It's just a lot. He is confronted about whether or not he's cheated on Becca before, because clearly he did, with not just anybody, but with Becca's biological mom, Courtney. And Rich says, yeah, I never lied. Every time Becca came to me and asked me if I'd talked to a female sexually, I never lied to her about it, because why would she come to me asking me about it if she didn't know the truth?
Is Rich Courtney's ex? Or is Courtney Rich? So who is the ex, or was it cheating? Like,
that is very unclear. It seems like he is probably Courtney's ex. They all kind of knew each other. And then he starts dating Becca.
that is crazy.
And then when Becca and Rich are on and off dating and back and forth, he would still be sleeping with Courtney.
I see.
So he's asked on the podcast if he was abusive or not to Becca, because there was rumors that he was violently abusive. And he says, verbally, yes. Physically, I never harmed her.
Is he proud? Is he like...
He's just like, he thinks it's normal, I think, to be verbally abusive is the sound.
Wow.
Is it true that you didn't want the baby at all? I wanted the baby. At first, before she got pregnant, I kept telling her, let's wait, because neither of us were financially stable and I wanted to have a full-time job. But when she came back with the pregnancy test stating she was pregnant, I always wanted it. When asked if he thinks Courtney would harm her own biological daughter, Becca, because, I mean, she's already harming her biological daughter, Becca, by having an affair with Rich. Well, Rich is asked about whether or not, and he says, I feel like Courtney wouldn't harm Becca until after the baby's born. Until after the baby's born. Does Courtney have a weird obsession with being a grandmother? Like, that's where she draws her moral line? Rich elaborates, a lot of it's got to do with the baby. I know when Courtney first found out Becca was pregnant, she sent threatening messages to Becca's phone. Rich is asked, I mean, I heard that Courtney has a weird obsession with always liking to be pregnant, but do you think that she's jealous that Becca is having your child?
Oh, so this is where the jealousy aspect might come into play. So not only was Courtney jealous of her daughter's boyfriend, but it seems like she was jealous of the fact that they were having a baby in general, like just period. Odd though, because these are her babies, Rebecca and Kimberly. It's not like she's never been pregnant before. Maybe she just wants to be the center of attention that bad. And when somebody else is pregnant, obviously all of the attention is on them. Yeah, it's really strange.
Because October of last year, when Becca was pregnant, she had a miscarriage, which back then I feel like it was mine, but there was a chance it was somebody else's because she conceived shortly before she quit cheating on me. We've been told that Courtney was pissed off because Becca was pregnant. And then when she found out that she was pregnant, we both said it was mine. And it just so happened when she got pregnant this time, Courtney threatened Becca a few times, stating she wasn't going to let Becca have my child. It's all making Courtney look pretty suspicious. However, Courtney tells the investigators that, okay, fine. She and Rich have been on and off seeing each other. When Becca wasn't with Rich, it is bad, yes. However, is it the worst thing in the world? No, not compared to what Rich does. Courtney is explaining to the officer, like she said, Becca and Rich are not the most stable couple that she has ever witnessed. They're on and off again. And one time earlier in 2025, when they were in their off period, which is a shame, but while they were broken up, Courtney decides the best way to comfort her daughter, Becca, is to sleep with Rich again. That's not...
This mom has guilty written all over her. So Rebecca and Richard were on a break, and then Courtney's like, what's good to do here? Comfort my daughter or fuck her man? I guess I'm a fucker man. Like, what the hell?
Courtney decides the best way to comfort her daughter, Becca, is to sleep with Rich again. That's not how she puts it, though. She just states that they start dating. And it was evidently very serious because she decides that she is going to go through the logistics of divorcing her husband, Bradley. But then she gets pregnant, and she doesn't know if it's Rich's baby or Bradley's baby.
Wait, when? What?
This is earlier in 2025.
But
Courtney got pregnant. Let me guess. She's gonna have a miscarriage. Courtney, if she's actually pregnant right now with either Rich or Bradley's baby, she's gonna lose that baby somehow. And then she's gonna take out her anger about losing that baby on Rebecca, who's about to have her own baby.
that's not the baby that she was telling her sister about,
No,
right?
no.
Okay.
So she says that she got pregnant and she didn't know whose baby it was. And because there was a chance that it could be her husband Bradley's, she decided to just stay with Bradley. That's just the plan. She's going to stay married. It's not like she can just ask her stomach, who's your dad? Although I do think that Courtney would be the type to try. She's like diagnosed with the terminal illness of stupidity. I don't know how else to put it.
She might be lying
decides
about that
one of
baby
them
too,
first.
though.
Stay with Bradley. She's no longer going to get a divorce. And Rich is going to go then resume his relationship with Becca. However, everyone is on board except Courtney says Rich was not. She tells the police, Rich doesn't want Becca. He wants her, Courtney. He's so angered by the fact that he has to be with Becca while Becca's mom, Courtney, biological mom, just has a child who may or may not be his, that he breaks into Courtney's house to essay her, and that causes her to miscarry. Now, we are typically never ones to...
I cannot, bro. I know we might be inclined to believe victims, but she has been lying this entire fucking video. I don't even know if I want to believe this happened, that she was SA'd, and that she was even pregnant to begin with, Courtney. I think all of this is made up. The pregnancy, her being SA'd.
That he breaks into Courtney's house to SA her, and that causes her to miscarry. Now, we are typically never ones to doubt someone's account of being SA'd, but these people like to make up new things every 2 seconds, so I can't be sure of anything at this point. But Rich argues that is not at all what happened, and it doesn't even make sense because Courtney has cameras inside and outside her house. If he did come in with a gun and SA her at gunpoint, wouldn't she just turn that footage over to the police?
True. So there's literally cameras. So Courtney really is just lying.
Courtney then argues, well, it's only a live feed. I don't have money for SD cards, so it doesn't actually record anything. I can only watch live. Rich then argues, can you really believe anything Courtney says? She's the one during Becca's first pregnancy. So Becca has 2 other children, 2 sons, before her 3rd pregnancy. She's pregnant with her 3rd pregnancy when she goes missing. Okay. But she has 2 other sons, and they're now being raised by Stephanie Park. They were actually being raised by Stephanie Park even when before she had gone missing.
How old are they? Do we know?
It's like they're like 1 and 3, I believe. Oh. Yeah, so they're being raised by Stephanie. And when Becca was carrying her very first child, so this is not Rich's child, Courtney is still so upset at the idea that her biological daughter is pregnant with her grandchild. She tries to hit Becca on the stomach with a baseball bat. That's what Rich is saying.
I believe Rich more. So Courtney tried to hit Rebecca with a baseball bat to the tummy. I'm inclined to believe this dude more, even though he's kind of sketchy too. He's the one so far that's been calling out Courtney most of all, like with her bullshit.
And they're asking, so is Courtney possibly trying to take this baby and maybe sell it? Or is she in like a financial situation? Or would she be trying to keep this baby herself?
I'm gonna be real. I don't think Courtney had any kind of logical reason like that. I genuinely just believe this is an attention whore. And she just did what she did because she's crazy.
I don't know. I'm speculating, but I can't help it. Rich responds, it could go either way. Now, Rich points the finger at Courtney, and sure, Courtney has argued that there's no way she could ever feasibly do anything to Becca, considering she is missing one of her legs from the knee down, which she is missing. It is believed that she did use a prosthetic previously, but according to internet rumors, and again, these are rumors, I don't even know if they're verified, okay? She got her prosthetic taken away because she took off her prosthetic and then tried to hit some police officers with it. I don't know how accurate any of this is. However, that's the allegation online, but I do know she is missing one of her legs from the knee down. She does use crutches and she does use a wheelchair.
Jesus. Oh.
But Rich says, that's not a valid alibi. He says, I've seen Courtney and her husband Bradley go at it, and quote, I mean, it'll go both ways. There's times Bradley would overpower her and times she would overpower Brad. So this becomes like a battle of the who's the least trustworthy person. We are in a shitty situation, especially when you factor in Rich's criminal history. He has multiple charges against him for SA against minors, against a child who is 13 to 15 years old, against an incapacitated victim.
Wait, so Rich isn't just a weirdo that dates 22-year-olds? He's also a Diddy blood? Oh no.
Against a child who is 13 to 15 years old, against an incapacitated victim. He has committed at least 5 sexual crimes and he is on the sex offender registry. Wow. But if you ask Shady Rich who he thinks took Becca, his pregnant fiance, he will likely tell you it's going to be Courtney and her husband, Bradley Bartholomew. The cold hard truth for Bradley Bartholomew, Courtney's husband, is that nobody likes Bradley. Courtney's biological daughters, Becca and Kim, don't like Bradley. And even Courtney doesn't like Bradley because just earlier this year, she was trying to divorce him and go run off with Becca's fiance, Rich. So it makes sense that everyone, if they had to point their finger at someone, that it would be pointed directly at Bradley Bartholomew's face. But everyone has problems with everyone. Bradley argues, even Becca and her mom, Courtney, had problems. They barely got along. Courtney felt resentful of Becca, because, sure, it was Courtney's decision and incompetency that caused her to not be able to raise her daughter, Becca, for the first 18 years of her life. But now that she suddenly is in her life, she wants to be treated with respect and be treated like a good mom. Becca won't even give her that chance. However, Bradley is adamant that he had nothing to do with Becca going missing. He wasn't even around when Becca was picked up by that black SUV, and when Courtney was inside getting Tide Pods, he wasn't even home the entire day that they were getting ice cream. He was out at his place. He's got his own place. He doesn't live with Courtney. Where does he live? He does live with Courtney, but he also has his own place out in the woods. It's not a shed. It's not a cabin. He just called dibs on a spot in the woods.
Like camping?
I don't even know if he has a tent. He just has a spot in the woods that he really, really likes. And he spends a lot of time there, and sometimes he'll sleep.
Is it in the back of Courtney's house or no?
I think further back. I don't think this is backyard camping. I think this is, he's walking to his place.
Just point at the forest and say, I sleep there. That's my house.
Basically.
But is there a spot or he's making this up?
Nobody knows. Yeah. But he says he's got a place in the woods.
I don't know if this is offensive to say, but this is all some crazy stereotypical trailer park white trash family story shit. And I'm not putting blame on Rebecca, by the way. I mean, for all I know, she was probably the most normal one here. But I'm saying the adults here, Rich, Courtney, Bradley, these are all just trailer park white trash, crackhead, lying, story make-uppers.
There's no way to confirm that he was at his place in the woods because he left his phone at Courtney's house. There's no way to track him through the cell towers. I mean, all you can take is his word. And someone's word in the middle of the woods, I wouldn't even take it if it were free. Anyway, he's at his place in the woods. When he gets back, he is told that Becca is missing. At which point, Courtney sends him a coordinate and is like, you need to go find Becca's phone here. He's like, what? So Kim had sent Courtney the coordinates.
This is next morning.
Yeah, November 4th. Kim sends Courtney the coordinates. Courtney sends it to Bradley. Bradley's like, I'm not going to go looking out there alone. The police are like, why did you not go alone? Quote, I'm not going to be accused of anything. So when Courtney gets home, her and Bradley both go into the woods together and they find Becca's phone. Bradley has no clue how her phone got there. Mind you, he just got home. He was living in the woods, living off nature. He just got here. How would he know how Becca's phone got here? But if he had to take his best guess, and if he had to voluntarily tell the police, he said Becca had walked that trail before. One would imagine that perhaps Bradley is...
Wait, no, that's where Courtney probably took Becca, right? Yeah, the mom. That's where Courtney took Becca after they went to go get ice cream. Yeah.
safer of the two to trust in the situation between Courtney and Bradley because Courtney is Becca's biological mom. Rich is Becca's fiance. There's a lot of interpersonal relationships there and the potential growth of resentment and some nefarious plots. Bradley kind of has nothing to gain from lying to the police or doing anything to Becca. Well, there might be something to gain. Bradley Bartholomew, Courtney's husband, is also a registered sex offender. And
they're all Diddy Bloods. What the fuck? So Bradley's also a sex offender.
And just the year before, he was thrown into jail for breaking probation. And according to Courtney, the person who reported him, that sent him away, Rich Failer, Becca's fiance, sent Bradley Bartholomew to prison last year.
What happened?
He broke his probation and he went to jail. He broke his probation because he's a registered sex offender. He can't be around kids. He can't do lots of things.
Yeah.
And he broke that probation. Rich allegedly turns him in and he had to spend probably not that long in jail, but he spent some time in jail.
So they had beef.
I will say there's a lot of weird stuff about Bradley being a sex offender other than the fact that he's a sex offender. There's insane posts on Courtney's Facebook page that show her absolute
sex offender on sex offender violence.
There's insane posts on Courtney's Facebook page that show her absolute lack of self-awareness being at its peak. She complains about how the county parole office won't let her husband Bradley take care of her. And you're like, that doesn't make any sense. Why, right? We can assume it's because Courtney actually has another son, another child, who's 14. And I want to put him on the map because he's not as relevant and his voice is out there and that's like another problematic thing. But she has a 14-year-old son and he cannot be in a house with a 14-year-old boy.
Right.
And she's complaining about the parole office.
Right. She's complaining about that rather than, wow.
Yeah, so she would write online on Facebook.
So it's so messed up of Courtney. How are you going to have a 14-year-old son trying to make him live with a sex offender who legally cannot even be around him because he's a 14-year-old kid? And then you're not going to complain to Bradley. Like, make Bradley leave, bro. Why are you going to complain to the legal office or something? And how much you want to bet Courtney would choose Bradley over her own son? This crazy woman would probably pick the sex offender over the 14-year-old son.
So she would write online on Facebook. So Wexford County Parole Office refused to allow my husband to care for me, so fuck. I'll sue them and have all of them fired. Spoiler alert, none of them were fired. Nobody was sued. When authorities asked Bradley Bartholomew who he thinks is responsible for Becca disappearing, he says that he didn't want to say anything, but I saw Kim asking about the trails behind the house. I think it was Kim, basically, saying, I think it was Becca's half-sister. And he says, quote, I believe she's dead, saying he believes that Becca is dead and her half-sister Kim is the one that killed her.
What a mess.
So Bradley is like, it's her half-sister Kim. What motive would Kim have in getting rid of her sister? Bradley says he heard Kim say once that she needs Becca out of the picture.
I don't buy it.
Then he says something weird. He says, Courtney, she likes to sleep with scalpels next to her nightstand, disposable scalpels. To drain like some of the cellulitis markings, she has scalpels. And something interesting to note is that now one of them is missing. And guess who has access to those scalpels? Kim. There are a few ways to frame somebody for murder, and the easiest, simplest, fish brain one would just be take an item that belongs to the person that you're trying to frame and plant it at the scene of the crime. It's easy, it's simple, it's clean. November 25th, 2025. 3 weeks after Becca goes missing, civilians stumble upon her body in the Manistee National Forest. They find Becca, and they find what appeared to be remains, and when they walk up close, it was very clear that it belonged to a human and not animal remains. And it looked like someone didn't want Becca to be found. She was covered in leaves, and she appeared, quote, gutted. Deputy Jacob goes down into the wooded area, and he had seen this human body female with a tattoo above her left eye that matches Becca, and Deputy Jacob reports her stomach had been cut open. There are clear wounds to her stomach. The placenta was hanging out of her open abdominal wound.
Oh, so yeah, that was Courtney then. Yeah, because Courtney was the one who called at the beginning of the video saying, oh, I'm giving birth right now or something like that. She was performing that quote unquote operation on Rebecca, I bet, gutting her, taking out the baby. And then Courtney probably got Kimberly to give her some of the scalpels that she has. Kimberly probably didn't know what the fuck Courtney was doing. So Kimberly was like, okay, here, mom. I mean, I don't know what you're doing, but you're my mom, so I'm just gonna give you what you're asking for.
With an attached umbilical cord that appears to have been cut with dental floss. There are stab wounds all over Becca, which later it's confirmed that she was alive when she was stabbed, and alive when later her stomach was cut open and someone forcibly ripped her baby out of her and cut her umbilical cord before they slit her throat and then dragged her. They hooked her up to a car and then dragged her into the woods and then left her for dead. Whoever did this, they wanted Becca's baby no matter what. They didn't care if Becca felt all of the pain of her baby being taken out. They didn't care if Becca died or lived, as long as they could take Becca's 38-week-old son. Whoever did this did not just kill Becca and steal her unborn baby. They wanted Becca to suffer. They essentially tortured her. There are two very important details about where Becca's body is found. One, she's found on Federal Forest Service Road 9784. And if you were to clear all of the trees and you were to walk in a straight line 2.5 miles, you would make it straight onto Courtney and Bradley's porch. And two, at the crime scene, there is a debit card that has been left behind. And that belongs to none other than Kimberly Park, Becca's half-sister.
Well, holy jump scare. I'm sorry. So the debit card belongs to Kimberly, but I don't know if that's enough for me to think that Kimberly was literally involved. If anything, that was probably left to frame Kimberly. Yeah, I wouldn't put that above Courtney. I think Courtney would indeed take something from Kimberly to plant along the path to frame Kimberly.
So was she framed? Or was this the dumbest accident to leave her debit card at the scene of the crime?
I think she's framed.
When Kim's mom, Courtney, finds out about this, Courtney mentions, you know what, I did see who was driving the black SUV, and you're never going to believe it, but I wanted to protect my daughter, and that's why I didn't say anything. The person who picked up Becca the night that she went missing was my other daughter, Kim. Does she drive a black SUV? Does she drive a Chevy? No, she doesn't, but somehow she got this car, and she was driving Becca out of my house. Kim is questioned, and Kim's version of events, they don't make any more sense than the others. She tells the officers that she knows who took Becca. She knows who killed Becca. It's not her, even though her debit card was there. It's that she was framed. The real killers are her biological mom, Courtney, and her husband, Bradley Bartholomew. Kim says she saw with her own two eyes Courtney and Bradley hit Becca on the head, causing Becca to have a seizure. And when they couldn't revive her, they frantically called a friend who lives upstate, took Becca's body away to, she thinks she heard something about a swamp. But I guess they never made it there because Becca was found in the woods.
Somebody in chat says, I feel like Courtney's just covering for Kim. I don't think so. She's just lied already so much and made up too many inconsistencies in her story. I think Courtney's just dragging everybody into what should be a simple case. Courtney murdered Rebecca. Courtney is an attention seeker, jealous of her daughter, jealous of a lot of stuff, and took her baby from her. The only reason it's this confusing is because there is like some beef between certain family members, and Courtney knows that, and she's bringing all the family members into it, saying like, he did this and he did that and they did this together.
There are social media lives where people related to this case have been coming up, sharing information, lots of information. And at one point, someone who has spoken with Kim personally, Becca's half-sister, says on the podcast, I'm just gonna paint the picture clear. This is on Steph's case files, and I don't care the repercussions. Courtney and Kimmy both talk about Becca like a dog. They say she's a horse, she's a slut. Kimmy's out here going around saying that she cares about her sister and misses her. Bullshit. I'm sorry, okay?
So Kim's statement is that she was there that night?
Yes.
Well, I thought there was only Courtney and Rebecca.
Yeah. But now she's saying I was there. And I saw them hit her on the head.
There's like so many versions now.
Exactly. And she's going around online talking.
Oh, so originally Kim wasn't even in the story, but Kim is now saying she was there and saw it happen? This is just peak crackhead activities. At this point, just lock them all up, bruh.
About how much she misses her sister. Someone who's spoken with Kim allegedly says she's never liked her sister. She would call her sister Becca like all sorts of derogatory names. She doesn't care about her sister. Kim tells the officers that all of this is very complicated. I mean, obviously it's complicated. Her half-sister is missing, and then her body is found, and her baby had been torn from her. But it's more complicated because Courtney is having an affair with Becca's fiance. But so is Kim. Kim is also having an affair with Becca's fiance. Rich Fowler somehow is sleeping with everyone. He and Becca are expecting a child on the way. Rich is having an affair with Becca's biological mom. Rich is having an affair with Becca's half-sister, Kim. Kim says the weirdest thing—
Wait, what? He was also fucking her sister? Why does everybody want to fuck this guy? His dick cannot be that good, but also, I mean, have some respect for your soon-to-be wife. You have a baby on the way and you're fucking her entire bloodline. That's so disgusting.
Kim says the weirdest thing happened though. Right after Becca went missing, Rich came up to her and informed her that Becca had been taken care of and she has nothing to worry about. But while they tried to cut the baby out of Becca, something went wrong. She's like, wait, what? Who's cutting the baby out of Becca? And then he wouldn't respond. So now Kim is saying, okay, Courtney and Bradley hit Becca on the head. She had a seizure. They had to get rid of her body. But then later on, Rich comes up to Kim and is like, hey, Becca's been taken care of. They were trying to cut the baby out of Becca, but then something went wrong.
So Kim told two different versions already.
Yes. So the police are like, is it Rich? Is it Courtney and Bradley? Is it all three of them? Is it Kim? Is it all four of them? Stephanie Park is Becca's real mom. She is Becca's adoptive mom, but technically—
Oh, okay, so this is Stephanie Park. We're finally getting to her now. She's not the biological mom, but she's very much considered the quote-unquote real mom because she actually raised her for most of her life, okay?
She is Becca's adoptive mom, but technically Courtney is just a birther at this point. Stephanie Park is the woman that raised Becca and Kim since Becca was a little baby. Becca and Kim have Stephanie's last name. Stephanie says that she spent a good part of her life trying to shield the girls away from Courtney because just of how a negative experience and an influence that Courtney is to be around. Even when Becca goes missing, Courtney and Bradley and Becca's fiance Rich, her half-sister Kim, nobody seems to care about Becca truly like Stephanie Park and her family. Even Becca's two other children that she's had before getting pregnant with her third, they were being raised by Stephanie Park. Even Kimmy's daughter is being raised by Stephanie Park. Meanwhile, Courtney is busy pretending to be a mom. She's like the type of person that has a very deplorable Facebook page. She primarily focuses her energy on reposting Minion quotes. They're not even quotes from the Minions. It's just Minions and then random quotes. Like there's a Minion quote and it reads, "I'm so good at sleeping, I can do it with my eyes closed." Another one reads, "Rabbits jump and they live for 8 years. Dogs run and they live for 15 years. Turtles do nothing and they live for 150 years. Lesson learned."
Holy Facebook, mom.
She reposts a quote, "Until you've lived my life, walked my path, suffered my pain, and seen what I've seen, I could care less about your judgments." She writes exactly on the repost. She also posts things like, "I'm a proud mother. I gave my children life. They gave me a reason to live. I love my children." I mean, all she did was give her children life because they were raised by somebody else. And it's just ironic. I mean, Courtney is not the brightest bulb. If you were in a room alone with Courtney Bartholomew, it would be pitch dark.
Stephanie, she wants to say the R word so bad. I give you the pass. Say it, please.
One day, before Becca is last seen and goes missing, she has a milkshake date with her mom, her biological mom, Courtney, at Dairy Queen. This is the day she goes to the hospital. So lasagna Inheritance Day, and then the day she goes to the hospital, she was actually supposed to get milkshakes with Courtney Bartholomew at Dairy Queen, but she didn't because she ends up going to the hospital thinking that she's in labor, but she's not. And that whole thing has the police very suspicious. The inheritance date, it almost seemed like the idea of the 3 different lasagna dishes and having your own lasagna, and Becca reportedly told friends afterwards her stomach was not feeling well. The next day she goes to the hospital and Courtney is so adamant, like, we have to get milkshakes and ice cream. She's like, we gotta get milkshakes the next day. And then when she goes to the hospital, you would think the next day she'd just be like, okay, you should probably relax. But instead she's like, we gotta go get ice cream at Culver's. People think that she had maybe poisoned the lasagna. That's a big speculation that caused—
There you go. Yeah, that's what I said earlier in the video. Yeah. See, yeah, that's a possibility. She probably poisoned one of the lasagnas.
Becca to go to the hospital the next day. And then to finish the job, she keeps begging to take her out to ice cream. That's the speculation. And with that, the police decide to look further into, obviously, Courtney and Bradley. Everyone also in town thinks that the couple are weird. They would have this truck that's parked outside their house all the time, and it never really moved. They never drove the truck. It just kind of sat there at all points. But recently, neighbors report seeing that truck moved. And not only that, but it doesn't even have seats inside the truck anymore. Courtney says she moved it recently because she wanted to get access to the porch, and the truck was blocking the porch. But why are there no seats in the truck?
What does that mean? They removed the chairs?
Yes.
They removed the chairs after she was missing, or it's always been missing?
It seemed like it wasn't missing until after Becca was missing. I mean, no one can really pinpoint the exact date that it went missing, but Courtney and Bradley confirmed, yes, we were taking the seats out. We took the seats out of the truck, but it was just because we were cleaning the truck. We're going to give the truck to Courtney's other son when he's going to turn 16. He's 14 right now. This is a 2-year-long truck makeover, which is, I mean, I guess normally fine, but Courtney and Bradley are not really the type to think ahead. Nobody would ever accuse these two of being forward thinkers. Then Bradley says that he has no clue about what happened because he was not at his place. He was out in the woods living at his other place that he called dibs on.
He calls dibs on?
Yeah, basically. He left his phone at Courtney's because Courtney's phone was about to be disconnected. And so he was going to let her use his phone because she wasn't paying for her phone. But when police look into it, there's multiple calls between Courtney's phone and Bradley's phone. So is she just calling herself? Or did you take your phone? Or maybe you didn't even go into the woods and you guys are calling each other. What for would you be calling each other? Would these be butt dials? I thought you weren't even there. I thought you didn't even have your phone. Are we to assume that Courtney's butt dialing nonstop? It's all very strange, isn't it? But Courtney thinks, no, it's not. In fact, she states she has an alibi, an airtight alibi. She couldn't have killed her daughter Becca because she was at home with her son. And there's an audio clip that she posts onto Facebook where she forces her 14-year-old son to say that he was with her that night.
What does it sound like?
Oh, dude, that's so sus. That is so sus. Using your 14-year-old son like that to basically corroborate your alibi, your fake made-up alibi. Nah. If you have an alibi, you just say it to the police. Why are you posting about it on social media? I don't know. To me, this is so easy. It's like she's trying to make it complicated. But if you just ignore the bullshit, it's so clearly Courtney. She's just lying. So maybe the true story of how Courtney killed Rebecca is a little confusing. Like maybe that's kind of confusing. Apart from that, it's clear Courtney's the killer.
And there's an audio clip that she posts onto Facebook where she forces her 14-year-old son to say that he was with her that night.
What does it sound like? Hey, just tell people we're with you?
Yeah, and then he was like, so my mom was with me at this time, at this point, and we did this.
Wow.
But by this point, the police know what's going on, that Courtney and Bradley are lying, and they are not the brightest and greatest and hardly the smartest. Even when authorities come to execute search warrants on Courtney and Bradley's house.
Thank God the police are not stupid in this
Courtney
scenario.
and Bradley conveniently have a conversation that the officers just happen to be able to overhear, and we don't have direct quotes, but I imagine it goes something like this. Courtney turns to Bradley, glances over at the police. You know the seat covers in our truck? In the driveway? The truck in our driveway? I had to burn the seat covers in our truck. Why would you burn the seat covers in the truck? Because I spilled something on it. That makes sense. If I spilled juice on the seat covers, I would burn it too so we don't get ants or anything.
Wait, they recorded that? Oh my God, they're so bad. They recorded that to make it sound like a casual conversation. Like, yeah, I would burn something too if I spilled liquid on it. Like what? That is not what anybody would do. You either wash it if you really liked it, like the mats, or you would just throw it away.
Yeah, I burned it in a bonfire.
What the
Why
fuck?
are they saying that?
Because they want it to seem less suspicious that they burned it. It's like toddlers lying. They want to make it seem less suspicious that they burned the seat covers for the truck, but they don't want to tell the police outright we burned the seat covers for the truck. So they're telling the police that they burned the seat covers for their truck. That's how I imagine it going down. I cannot say with certainty that this is the exact conversation, but we do know that while the police were around, they're having this fake conversation of like, why'd you burn the seat covers in the trunk? Oh, well, because I spilled something on it. There are messages of Courtney sending her two biological daughters pictures of an $18,000 check, which she claimed was the inheritance that was going to be split and divided and then given to both of them. So both of them were going to receive half of the $18,000 at the lasagna dinner, but there is no such thing as that $18,000 check. So I guess it was photoshopped or it was AI generated or something. These are just imaginary checks. So they decide to bring both of them in. The police are like, bring in Courtney, bring in Bradley. And the couple come back in for second questioning. Even this, Courtney's trying to be slick. She tells the officers, according to the affidavit, wasn't the first interview enough? They bring in Bradley, and because Becca's body is found, the officer tells him this is a homicide investigation and there cannot be any more lies. Bradley admits, fine. I knew what was happening. My wife, Courtney, was going to get Becca and come to the house. I was there. I was at the house. She was going to come and get Tide Pods. I was at the house, but I lied. And I said that I was in the woods because I was alone with Courtney's son, who is 14 years old. And I'm a registered sex offender, and I can't be alone with Courtney's 14-year-old son because I can't be alone with children. That's why I lied to you guys. He says that when Courtney comes back alone to the house to pick up the Tide Pods, she tells him to go outside and clean up her car. There's blood on the dash. And he's like, blood? Courtney tells her husband that she got into a physical altercation with Rich and that there was blood on the dash. The dutiful, questionless, brainless husband, Bradley, goes out there and starts wiping the blood off the dash. But then he remembers that there was no blood on the floors or on the seats, just the dash. Like, he does point that out to the police. There was, however, paint spilled on the seat covers, which is why they burned it. Okay.
What?
So Bradley says that Courtney starts talking about how she and Rich did something horrible. What does that even mean? He's like, what do you mean? She won't elaborate. And then the news starts going around that Becca is missing. And Bradley, very slowly, maybe a little too slowly, starts putting two and two together very slowly. And then he's like, wait, I think they did something to Becca. So he confronts Courtney about it. Courtney freaks out on him and tells him, if you say anything, I will make your life hell. He states, you know, I believed her because it wasn't that long ago that Courtney tried to stab him with a pair of scissors and was charged with assault. The case was ultimately dismissed, but still, he doesn't think that she's bluffing. She already tried to stab him with scissors previously. The only other thing that Bradley can tell the investigators, which he voluntarily told them, is that she's always talking to two people. What do you mean she's talking to two people all the time? I mean, I don't know. Neither of those two people are me, though. How do you know? I mean, she's always on her phone, click-clacking away, talking to Rich and to Kim.
I mean, the thing is, at this point, even though now it seems like he's locked in and trying to tell the truth and come clean about Courtney, you've already lied. All of you have lied throughout this entire investigation. I just don't know what's the truth anymore. I know Courtney did it. I can say that much, but in terms of what actually fucking happened, it's just, yeah.
He doesn't know what they're talking about, but they're always talking. How do you know they're always talking? They just are. He doesn't think that Courtney and Rich are still having an affair, though, because he says, quote, I just can't see them being together like that. They haven't talked in over 2 years.
Wait, didn't you say that you're talking?
Yes. So now I don't know if he means talking as in romantically talking, but you just said all they do is talk. But Bradley says But Bradley claims that he thinks if anyone did anything, it was Kim, because Kim was having an affair with Rich, and she would have motive to want Becca out of the picture.
But didn't he just say Courtney and Rich had blood in the car and did something horrible?
Yeah.
So where is Kim coming from?
I don't think he knows.
I think Bradley's legit just fucking stupid, bro. Bradley just said a whole bunch of bullshit. Oh my God. Even he doesn't know. And dude, everybody fucked Rich. I would not be surprised if it came out that Bradley also fucked Rich. Bradley also was hopping on Rich's cock.
So these people don't even think. They're just like talking.
They're just talking. I feel like they're
just making up shit as they go.
Their thoughts like reset every 5 seconds.
Because where is Kim coming from? What is he saying about Kim?
Yeah, he's saying Kim has the most motive because she was having an affair with Rich. He doesn't think that Courtney was having an affair with Rich because they haven't talked in a really long time, except all they do is talk, remember? All they do is text.
This part of the video, ignore this bullshit, bro. Bradley's straight up lying.
Haven't talked in a really long time. So we don't know a thing that this guy is saying. But then he goes on to later state, you know, if I really had to answer questions though, quote, he believes that Courtney is capable of slicing open her own flesh and blood and taking a baby out. It is a good possibility that Courtney could attack Becca and cut a baby out of her. He thinks that Courtney has more to do with it than what she wants to claim. He said that all the evidence does point to her. So basically what happens in these
This, I believe that.
Is that Bradley will decide that he's going to pin it on Kim. Is the vibe that I get. And then the police will be like, well, remember the evidence says this? Remember when you said this? And then he'd be like, you know what, you're right. I think Courtney did it. And then he just keeps like making up new stories. He's asked, well, what do you think happened? I thought Courtney was jealous of Becca. Courtney wants to have another child. And I think Rich wants to get back in a relationship with Courtney. But he leaves the interview with one big problem, a problem that is bigger than all the other problems, which is he has a ton of motive to lie. He basically admits it himself to the officer. He says, well, I do think if Courtney's in the other room talking to the other investigators, she's going to try to pin it on me. In a separate room, Courtney is talking to the officers and she asks, can Bradley hear me?
Oh my God.
No, he cannot. Well, I think we should back up. I think I need immunity. These are direct quotes. When she's told that the prosecutor is the only one that can give immunity, she's like, well, get him down here. The police are like, it's not that simple. The prosecutor isn't just gonna come here because you said so. They're not gonna come at the clap of your hands. They're gonna wanna know what kind of information you can provide for them. And then they'll think about if they wanna grant you any sort of immunity. Courtney says she can tell them where the knife was that was used to kill Becca and where the baby is, all of it. She just admitted to being guilty. Yeah. It's not very bright of her. I think she...
Wait, what? Courtney said she will give us where the knife is and where the baby is, that she will give it all to us. So yeah, so she literally, finally, bro. Oh my, okay, we're getting somewhere. So all of that bullshit just to now just come out and say she knows where the fucking baby is. Oh my God. All I need now for this video to be worth my time, I need to see that Bradley was also bouncing on Rich. And Bradley's fucking stupid, right? So he'd probably be bouncing on it like,
She just admitted to being guilty. Yeah. It's not very bright of her. I think she anticipated this.
She hasn't got anything. She's already saying, I can tell you ABC.
Exactly.
Which, okay.
She's like, I need immunity because I'm innocent, but I know some stuff. By the way, I must be guilty because I can tell you where the baby is.
That is crazy. So that was used against her then,
yeah.
Right?
I mean, the police immediately, they don't call the prosecutor and they tell her, well, everything you just said in that one sentence, you gave us knowledge that you only have if you're guilty.
Did they point it out already?
Yeah. And Courtney says, well, no. So I've been threatened.
Oh, yeah, because this whole murder took place in a secluded area. So the only reason you would know and be able to show where the baby is and where the knife is if you were there. You can't just hear about that from somebody, you know? You can't just walk across that.
Her 14-year-old son has been threatened. Her home has been threatened, and she is done. She's officially done doing this. She wants immunity, and she wants witness protection. Who does she think she is, ordering this? I mean, you cannot order officers around. That is strictly reserved for really wealthy pedophiles. Sergeant Voss informs her, look, we can't give you immunity. Is the baby still alive? Courtney shakes her head no. Did Bradley confess? He told us lots of stuff. I want to talk to a prosecutor. I want immunity. We need to know what you know to take it to the prosecutor. So for example, you said you'll tell us where the baby is in the garbage in a blue cooler. Where? Wow. In the garbage cans. Bradley said he put him in a black bag. The cooler's gone. The cooler is Bradley's work cooler. He put him inside the cooler, drove up and down the road looking for a waste, one of those residential trash cans that wasn't mine. And she refers to it as a GFL, but that's basically the company name, Green for Life. So it's just like a garbage can. He's just looking for a garbage bin that's not ours, you know? But she says that she's being set up by her husband, Bradley. She and Becca's fiance are both being set up by Bradley. She's saying her and Rich are the fault.
Okay, so now Courtney wants to say that Bradley set both of them up. But Bradley's fucking stupid. He's monkey brains. He would not be able to frame anybody. Does Bradley know about this, Courtney? Who's gonna tell Bradley that he did this?
Why would Bradley set up his own wife and his wife's daughter's fiance? Well, it has to do with the fact that one, Courtney and Rich were having an affair and Bradley is so jealous because everybody just wants Courtney. And Courtney explains that last year, remember, Rich sent Bradley to jail. So this is Bradley getting revenge on Rich. It's a retaliation plot. She says November 3rd, the night that Becca went missing, Courtney and Becca were in the house. Becca did not wait in the car. She came inside the house and they were chit-chatting. When Bradley asked Becca, can I step outside and talk to you for a second? They go outside. Courtney says, I didn't think anything of it. Bradley was supposed to be her stepdad, end quote. But she did ask where they were going to go, and he said he was going to get in the car. According to Courtney, Bradley shouts at her, don't worry about it and get your ass back in the house. So that's exactly what she does. She goes back inside the house and doesn't worry about it. Near midnight, Bradley comes back home without Becca. He says he dropped her off at home. Courtney, for whatever reason, suddenly feels this to be untrue information. No, you didn't. Bradley says, oh, yes, he did, and Becca is going to call her tomorrow. Courtney asks for her phone so she can call Becca and confirm that she got home safely. Bradley makes up this whole thing about how he left her phone in the shed. So he went to the shed, comes and gives it to her, and then he just admits when he gives her the phone, she didn't go home. Where did she go? Bradley tells her that he took her to a house. Wait, she told me to take her there. Becca wanted Bradley to give Courtney a message, though. I never want anything to do with you again. Courtney is so offended, she calls Rich, Becca's fiance, instead of Becca. And Courtney tells him, dude, your old lady left with some guy. So now we're back to the black van theory. So it went from a black van to Bradley did it. Now we're back to the black van because she was like, dude, your old lady was left with some guy, which Rich confirms is exactly what Courtney said. So she has to stick with this story. And it's such a bizarre thing to say in general, but also you're the old lady, whatever. Also, 40 is not old, but you get what I'm saying. Courtney claims that Bradley made her say that on the phone. And when she hangs up, Bradley, out of nowhere, backhand slaps her across the face. I think she watches so many Lifetime movies or something. I don't know. At this point, it is clear that Courtney is in version 15.9 of her account of events. What happened to the original black car that we heard so much about? The very, very specific black SUV, the Chevy?
Yeah. She only brought up the black SUV one time at the beginning of the fucking investigation and at the beginning of this video. And then I think now towards the end, she's like, oh shit, wait. I'm lying too much. I should probably bring up the black SUV again to be consistent.
The Chevy with the tinted windows, what happened to that? I lied. I made it up. That never happened.
She went on to admit she made that shit up. Courtney confirmed that the story about the black car was made up and never happened. Oh, you don't say. This is so shocking to me that she would lie about that.
No black SUV ever came to pick up Becca. It was just a lie that Bradley made me say. Courtney claims the day that after Becca's body is found, she confronts Bradley about what he did. And he gets in her face and he tells her, I'm going to tell you once and I'm going to tell you and you're going to fucking drop it and you're going to shut the f up. I'm the reason your daughter's not here and that your life is upside down right now. Rich with the wrong motherfucker. It's like a D-grade movie that airs at 3 a.m. on Lifetime. Courtney says that she asks Bradley, what did you do to my daughter? He responds menacingly, I slit her fucking throat. Rich deserved it. Rich deserved it. And it just happened to be your daughter that's going to pay for it. What about my grandson that she was carrying? Oh, I stuck him in a cooler, stuck him in a trash bag, threw him in the trash. Hold on. The officers are very confused. They stop Courtney in her story and they say, wait, hold on. If Bradley is just doing this to get back at Rich, just killing Becca and their unborn child seems to be the goal. Why cut the baby out of Becca, bring it back, and then dispose of the baby, leaving more evidence? Courtney responds, because if he would have left the baby in there and somebody found her before, the baby could have survived, he would have thought. he would have thought. So now we're just thinking he would have thought. I don't
even know why we're reading all of these fake ass stories from Courtney. She keeps making up different stories, bro.
Then why wouldn't he just take the baby out and kill it and then leave the baby? Why go through the trouble of taking the baby? He told me that the baby wasn't breathing when he pulled him out. Later, she tries to state that the baby is Bradley's. That's why he took the baby out of Becca, because Bradley and Becca were having an affair. But straight up, the police were like, wait, so did Bradley essay Becca? Because you've been telling us that Becca hates Bradley's guts.
Yeah.
And then she's like, yeah, they do hate each other. So the police just ignore this whole plot line because they know it's not true. And they know that she's just
Thank you, police. Thank you. Yes, please keep ignoring her.
lying out of her butt. So then they just continue asking, well, where's the baby now? He put him in a blue cooler in a trash bag and then into the trash. She says that she knows that he used a trash bag from their house because she likes to count their trash bags. And the police are like, what is happening? Why are you counting your trash bags? Courtney clarifies that she never went to the location that Becca's body is found. She has no clue how often Bradley had gone back to the location where Becca's body is found. She's kind of insinuating something there. And they ask her, you said you knew where the knife was used to kill Becca is? Yes. He threw it in a dumpster at Cadillac Shores. When? It's my hunting knife, but probably like a week after he put the knife in the dumpster. What happened to the scalpel you said he used? I had no clue. I wish I knew. What are you looking for in an immunity agreement? What are you afraid of? You know, you've provided us with a lot of information that's not true. I reassure you that I will cooperate the whole way. Ultimately, Courtney states that it was all Bradley, her husband, and she had nothing to do with it. Rich has nothing to do with it, and as for Kim, she just wants to be involved because she wants to feel important. That's what Courtney says. She just keeps getting involved because she wants to feel important.
It's like, you wouldn't talk about things like that if you were telling the truth. Oh, Kimberly, she just wants to feel important. No, motherfucker, you brought Kimberly into this probably, right? Wasn't Courtney also the one that brought Kim into the story at some point? And then now, after bringing her into the story, Courtney's now saying, oh, Kim, you know Kim, she just wants attention. Like,
and then the police are like, okay, well then how did Kim's ID or debit card end up at the scene of the crime? Like, what's happening? She states that once Kim went on social media to say that Courtney and Bradley were responsible for Becca's murder, because Kim had gone on some lives and was like, you know what, I think they might be responsible. Bradley went back to the crime scene and planted Kim's debit card for the police to find for the purpose of framing her. Oh, and 2 months before all this happened.
oh, so she said now that Bradley was the one who planted the debit card that belonged to Kimberly.
Oh, and 2 months before all this happened, Courtney did remember seeing Bradley suspiciously look up online how to perform a C-section. So I don't know if she thought that he was suddenly going to go into med school with his criminal record and history, but she doesn't think anything of this afterwards. And one of her scalpels is, of course, missing from her nightstand. The police are very messy. And I don't mean like disorganized, but like messy. Because after this conversation, they immediately run right next door to Bradley. And they do a second interview with Bradley. And they essentially tell him, guess what Courtney told us? Like, literally, that's what they tell him. And the investigators tell Bradley that Courtney says the whole thing was a retaliation plot, that Bradley is mad that Rich turned him into the police last year. Oh, that's bullshit. You know, but her story doesn't make sense, Bradley. If you were just trying to get revenge on Rich, why would you cut the baby out, right? Bradley is not picking up what they're putting down, at least not quickly, or really at all. So they spill it out for him. And you know, it's odd because Courtney was the one who told her sister she had a baby in the NICU that she was waiting to bring home. Right. And she's the one that kept trying to get custody of Becca and Kim's children. I'm sure Courtney stabbed Becca because she did have a hunting knife. That knife was dumped, but it might still be in a trash can. And this is where we get what seems to be so far the most believed and the clearest version of events.
Hold up. Clearly, the police is almost trying to get Bradley to switch his finger from Kim to Courtney.
Yeah, so the police know, they have a good idea that it was Courtney and Bradley, so it doesn't seem like they're trying to get a false confession, although maybe the defense attorneys will use it against them. But
yeah, but why Bradley was so adamant on Kim? Like, why?
It seems like he still wanted to protect his wife to some degree. And Courtney didn't care. She was like, take my husband. He's the guilty one. So the police come in and they're like, Courtney said it was you, just like you expected it to be. And then they're trying to tell him, but we know that's not the truth because Courtney's also weird.
Okay, I mean, well, they are weird, for sure, that's for sure. But it's just like, okay, yeah.
So then Bradley starts telling the police, Becca was in the truck with Courtney and Bradley. So after ice cream, I don't even know if they went to get ice cream. It seems like they were just in the truck. He doesn't clarify. I don't think they went to get ice cream. But they're in the truck, all three of them.
This is the final story from Bradley.
Yes, okay. And Bradley says that they were going to go drive to get Tide Pods. But before they can leave, he looks and Courtney just starts stabbing Becca in the truck in their driveway. What part of Becca's body did Courtney stab? I don't know.
So this is going to be the most believed story. That's what Stephanie said. Okay.
But before they can leave, he looks and Courtney just starts stabbing Becca in the truck in their driveway. What part of Becca's body did Courtney stab? I don't know. I jumped out the truck. What? They're like asking him, like, can you explain a little bit more? Courtney just grabbed the knife and started stabbing her. This is a direct quote. Just stabbed her in the chest as far as I know, but I can't be sure because I jumped out the car when Courtney started swinging, so I'm not sure. Eventually, another door to the truck opens and he sees that Courtney brought Becca out bleeding and starts making Becca walk. Becca is stabbed and she's 38 weeks pregnant. She cannot run away and she walks her into the woods essentially. He says that Courtney stabbed Becca and in the woods took the scalpel that I guess she had already prepared and cut the baby out of Becca. He confirms that Becca is alive when all of this is happening, and she's actually begging them to hurry up and take her baby out and save her baby. Once the baby is out, he says that Courtney tries to do CPR on the baby while Becca is, again, still alive. And Bradley walks over and slits her throat. Bradley claims the whole time he's screaming at Courtney, "This is not right, this is not right," which is like a very bizarre understatement that I've ever heard. Bradley says instead of calling 911, he and Courtney take the baby. They do hook up Becca onto his truck and they drag her further into the woods. So they like hook her body onto the truck as if she's like an object of that you would move, I don't know, a tree log or furniture in that sense,
What
or
do you
like a
mean
trailer.
hook her up on the truck, like
I guess like the truck
attachment thing?
attachment, yes. And they drag her into the woods and they cover her with
So they hooked up Rebecca's body to the back of the truck and they dragged her. They drove and dragged her body like that to the forest. Jesus.
He says that he has no clue if Becca is alive or not, but they just leave. They take the baby into the house, and that takes approximately 5 minutes, at which point Bradley doesn't hear the baby breathe or cry for the entirety of the 5 minutes it takes to get back into the house. And when they get back into the house, Courtney walks in, goes into their bedroom, puts a towel on their bed, places the baby down, continues CPR. That goes on for about 15 minutes before she walks out with a trash bag. And the baby is in the trash bag. And she just puts the baby out on the porch for the rest of the night because they want to get rid of the baby right before trash pickup day. But she does make one comment the rest of the night that Bradley claims he remembers, which is, "That bitch killed my baby." And she seems to be referring to her biological daughter, who is the mother of the baby.
That she
Killed both of them.
tortured.
So she's blaming Rebecca? The mom at that point was blaming Rebecca for killing the little baby? The baby that you literally forced cut out of her? What in the... She's not just stupid, but she's evil. She's like a stupid kind of evil.
And killed both of them, yeah. Bradley tells the officers that Courtney just loves having kids. She loves being pregnant. She loves, I guess, the feeling of everyone saying she's pregnant. I could just tell from her Facebook. She loves being...
Oh, that's what I said at one point. When anybody's pregnant, they're getting all the attention. It makes sense. Like, it always happens. You know, you're pregnant. Obviously, people are always going to be checking up on you, saying congratulations, asking if you need anything. Like, there is a lot of attention to that person. And because her daughter was pregnant and she's an attention whore, I mean, there you go.
a mom in the sense of like moms have the hardest jobs in the world, which is accurate if you're a good mom. You're not a mom. All you did was give birth, which like is very annoying because also like out of all the people in the world that want to have children and want to give birth, like it's always like people who don't deserve children that are giving birth. And Bradley tells officers that Courtney was really into the idea of adopting a baby. So it does seem like she miscarried a few times and she is incapable of becoming pregnant. It doesn't seem like it was, I don't know if it was a health thing or she's just 40 and sometimes age does play a big factor, but
Ooh, that would be a big factor too. If it was true that she had a baby at some point and miscarried, that would also explain the jealousy towards her daughter. She didn't enjoy being a mom because she was out of her daughter's lives. Like, she did not raise her two daughters at all. So it seems like she likes the attention of being called a mom without bearing any of the actual responsibilities that comes with being a mom. She likes the title, not the responsibility.
can't adopt a baby because he's a registered sex offender. So they're not going to just give them a baby on a silver platter. She can't get pregnant. And so she thought that this was probably, this is what Bradley thinks, and everyone's connecting the dots, the easiest way to get a baby. I don't know why she wants a baby.
Yeah, but not only that though. Like, she did that to Becca while she was alive.
Yeah.
Wanting a baby, she couldn't even give her the mercy of...
Yeah.
Right? See, that just...
Because I think,
That's not just you want a baby then.
yeah. I mean, I think some people would, I guess logically, maybe Courtney was thinking that if Becca was dead, the baby would die. But I don't know. There's also people
By the way, chat, there's only 9 more minutes left. We're almost done. 9 more minutes. Let's go.
speculating Courtney was thinking that if Becca was dead, the baby would die. But I don't know. There's also people speculating that they were both high on meth when this happened, and meth can, I guess, allegedly make you more cruel. But meth does not make you kidnap your own biological child and cut her unborn baby out of her stomach. So I don't even like to really mention if they were high on drugs because, first of all, it's speculative. We don't know. We do know that they were frequent users of meth and that Rich Failer was a meth dealer at one point. So there is a lot of that. But I don't think that that is any sort of explanation. But ever since then, it seems that Courtney can't stand the idea of anybody else getting pregnant. Because even when Becca was pregnant with her first child, remember, Rich claimed that she was trying to hit her with a baseball bat on the stomach because she just doesn't like the idea of anybody else being pregnant except for her. She needs to be the one being a mom. She needs to be the one having a kid, but she's married to a registered offender, so she can't adopt and she can't get pregnant. Courtney is confronted with Bradley's new version of events, and this is like the version that most people believe happened. Courtney says she tries her best to lie again, and she says, that's not true. Bradley just killed Becca in front of me. He was stabbing her, so I had to cut the baby out because Becca was like, save my baby. So I cut the baby out because that's my grandson. She said she cut Becca's baby out of sympathy.
Again, just ignore
out of
this. I think
honor, out of
Stephanie
familial
even said that. Like, just ignore this part of Courtney.
She conveniently had dental floss in her pocket to cut the umbilical cord.
So she did confess to.
Yeah.
Okay.
At this point, everybody is arrested. So,
Oh, that's true, though. Even though she lied about things leading up to it, she did confess to being the one that cut out the baby. So there you go.
at this point, everybody is arrested. So Kim is arrested. This is her mugshot for tampering with evidence, lying to a police officer because
But why is she part of this? How is she part of this?
she kept lying. It seems like at one point she finally knew what happened, but she was lying. So she would point the finger at Rich, then she would point the finger at Courtney and Bradley, and then she was sending people on a wild goose
Why
chase.
is that?
I think that she didn't know the smartest move for her to make. She claims that she was being blackmailed by Courtney and Bradley, that they told her that we have your stuff, we have your debit card. If you don't make everyone believe it's Rich, we're going to plant your stuff at the scene of the crime.
So she claimed that she's been blackmailed.
Yes.
So she started lying about
Yeah.
what? And she was arrested for tampering with.
Evidence lying to a police officer and filing a false police report.
So lying is just in this family's blood.
Because they're assuming that she knew that Becca was not missing, that she was dead.
Oh, already the second day.
So like her police report that she probably filed out was probably full of lies.
Because I don't know what's going on with the cell phone too. She's the one that gave them the cell phone.
Yeah.
Pin?
She says that she got it from Rich, but no one really knows.
And how is Rich
Oh, yes.
connected now? He's also arrested.
Rich Failer is arrested, but then
Okay, so Rich is arrested. Let's go.
Rich Failer is arrested, but then he's subsequently let go. He has no charges right now against him related to this case. I think he has a separate domestic violence charge that's open that has nothing to do with Rebecca, but he was briefly arrested.
Okay, so he's already let go.
The general consensus is that Rich has no idea what's going on.
Really?
The general consensus is that Rich is a shit person, but
Really?
netizens are actually really mad because they're saying out of everyone in this entire story, minus obviously Stephanie Park, her adoptive family, and all of the kids, out of everyone, Rich is the best person?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, see, that's what I was saying earlier. He's a monster. Like, Rich, he has his own weird stuff going on with being a sex offender and being a Diddy blood. But from the beginning, he seemed to be the one that was calling out Courtney the most.
It seems like he is a shit person, but probably not guilty of Becca's murder.
He had a version of the story, correct?
Yes.
Did that story line up
Yeah.
with what they were saying?
So Becca was picked up. He went to sleep. He woke up. He doesn't care that Becca's not home at 1 a.m. Then the next morning, he gets a call from Courtney, and she's like, your old lady left with some other guy. He thinks it's weird. He starts investigating, and like all this stuff is weird. He goes on live streams. He's like, hey, everyone says that I hit Becca. I didn't hit Becca. I only verbally abuse her. He's like a sex offender, a registered sex offender with multiple criminal essay charges against minors. But ultimately, it doesn't seem that he was involved in Becca's death.
Wow. Okay.
But I mean, who knows? Maybe he will be charged soon. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then Courtney and Bradley are arrested for first-degree murder, torture, conspiracy to commit torture, assault of a pregnant individual causing miscarriage or stillbirth, conspiracy, unlawful imprisonment, and removing of a dead body. I don't know how it's going to go if they're going to charge for 2 counts of
Which
first-degree
state are
murder.
they in?
They're in Michigan. So I don't know, but I just don't think that the assault of a pregnant individual causing miscarriage or stillbirth, people have qualms about that charge because they want it to be like a full separate murder charge for the
yeah.
baby. And
Yeah, that is.
Yeah. So now, I mean, they're arrested. They did have a brief.
Oh, yeah, because it gets into that weird, because, like, there's always that debate of, oh, is abortion killing a baby? Like, is the baby a baby? Now, I think in this scenario, because you cut out the baby, and the baby was 38 weeks, by the way, so that baby was basically almost full term, and they removed the baby from the mother, from Rebecca. So I think that is very valid to say that that was, at that point, a whole other life that they killed. That should be 2 counts of murder.
It doesn't seem like, I don't know when the trial's going to be. I imagine that they're going to be represented by public defenders. I imagine that the trial will be, I mean, I don't like to say a slam dunk case, but I do think it'll probably be a slam dunk case, just the way that they've incriminated themselves thus far, and then everything that will come up in discovery. I don't think that there will be a world in which something unexpected happens during the trial. But we are left purely to speculate. I will say, I don't know if the trial is going to uncover the real reason why these 2 allegedly killed Becca. Is it really just because they want a baby? Is it because they don't care? Is it like a torture element to it? Like
Oh, yeah. It would not surprise me if the truth wasn't fully revealed, because these people just lie and lie and lie. Again, they know the end result. They know that they're guilty. But as for the actual story, they might not find the truth.
And I mean, I don't have answers for that. I don't think we'll ever get answers for that, even if there is a trial.
Wow.
But with that, I will leave you with netizen comments.
What is
Yes.
Stephanie Park's?
Stephanie Park's family have started the GoFundMe for Rebecca's sons. Stephanie Park is raising Rebecca's 2 sons and Kimberly's daughter.
Man, bless this woman right here, by the way. Stephanie, again, Stephanie Park is the one that raised Rebecca and Kimberly, right? She was basically their real mom as opposed to Courtney. And now, after all of this fuck shit happened and Rebecca's dead and Kimberly is in jail as well, Stephanie then went to take care of Rebecca's son, the one that was already born, and Kimberly's daughter. Bless her. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and give my closing statement. Honestly, just crazy story, a lot of fluff, and I hope you all didn't find it too confusing, because I also did my best to pause and explain and add more explanation. But even if you did get confused, you really shouldn't have, because it was a lot of bullshit trying to cover up a very clear story. Courtney did it. Courtney definitely did it, and Bradley for sure was like a close teammate to Courtney. But yeah, the whole family, dude, what a circus, dude. They were all Diddy Bloods, they were all crackheads. Yeah, it's just insane all around. But I am confident that regardless of the outcome, I think Rebecca's gonna get justice. I feel really sorry for her that she had to be brought up into this chaotic, weird family. Rest in peace to Rebecca. And yeah, I mean, I hope that Courtney faces justice, that she goes to jail forever. Anyway, that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for putting up with that crazy ass story. That's all. Thank you. Goodbye, YouTube.